guys, it's Rihanna. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I wrote my NBTs yesterday, so I thought I'd make a little video kind of explaining what to expect when writing your NBTs and answering some of the questions that I had about the NBTs and for writing them. So I'm not going to say like what you need to know, like what you need to know to study. Like I'm not going to tell you know your sine graphs, know your tan graphs, know this definition of this word, know these processes, kind of. So nothing about the actual like educational part, but kind of what to expect out of the whole experience and the whole process and everything. So yeah, just what to expect when going into writing the NBTs and answering some questions or answers to the questions I had. And yeah, basically the process of the NBTs. So hopefully this helps you if you're writing NBTs or if you're just curious as to what goes on, how it happens. So yeah, and for reference, I wrote at Eden Glen High School. So maybe it's different where you write. I don't think so, because like the process should be the same or similar everywhere. But if things do differ, yeah, that's what I wrote. So if you're writing your NBTs, I'm sure you know that there's the AQL and then there's the maths. So the AQL is the academic and quantitative literacy. So it's the it's like English, like comprehension kind of vibes, and then it's also like math literacy. And then the math is like a normal matric math exam kind of, but obviously you're not allowed a calculator, so it's quite difficult. But yeah, so I was very scared to write the NBTs. I've heard it's very difficult and everything, and it was quite difficult, especially you're not allowed a calculator and stuff. But yeah, let's just get into it. So firstly, you sign up online and everything. Yeah, there's a bunch of videos explaining how to register for NBTs and everything. And I watched some videos to try prepare for the NBTs, and it was basically just telling me how to register, how to know what NBTs to write. But yeah, you've registered everything. So you get to the school or the venue that you're writing at, and then you sign in basically. So they have different tables for the different surnames and stuff. You basically just sign in by your surname and they tell you your seat number. So like exams, they tell you you're sitting in A2 or whatever. So it's like the same kind of exam vibes. Yeah, so you get your seat number, you sign in, and then you just wait a little bit, and then shortly they let you into the hall. So we started writing at 9 o'clock. So I think we went into the hall at about like 8, kind of 7:30, 8, somewhere around there. And yeah, you sit, they scan, the metal detector thing, they do that to make sure you have no watches. You're not allowed smart watches, phones, lip balm, mechanical pencils. Take note of that. You're not allowed a mechanical pencil. So yeah, this one girl in front of me was writing with the kind of mechanical pencil, and they told her you're not allowed it. So they gave her normal HB pencil to use, which was nice. At least they had pencils and erasers on hand. But yeah, you're not allowed a mechanical pencil, a calculator, a watch, a ruler, lip balm. You can't take lip balm in and everything. So they scan you to make sure you have no metal or anything. The same with like matric final exams and prelims, I suppose. And then you go sit. They kept saying it's the same process as matric finals. Like, babes, we haven't even written matric finals yet. We just wrote June exams. But anyways, so then you sit down. Then the first session is from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock because it's 3 hours per session. The AQL and the math is both 3 hours. So the first session is the AQL. We started just after 9 because the process of signing in and everything is long. Let me get into that now. So they hand out the answer paper, and then the question booklet. And then on the answer paper, it's double-sided. The one side is for all your personal information. So you write your ID number, you write your name, you write are you male or female, you write the testing station number, which they give you. And yeah, you just fill all of that in. And they do check your ID, so you have to take your ID or your passport or your birth certificate, anything in with you. And so you fill that in. It's like, I feel like I'm all over the place, but it's like you see American exams, it's like the circle and then you color in the circle. It's basically like that for answering. So you have to color in the circle fully, not scribble, not tick, not cross. You have to color the circle in fully. And the process is long because like you write your ID number and then it has numbers and you have to color in that number. You write your name, it has the letters in circles and then you have to color in the letters of your name. But yeah, it was like a little red paper with all the circles and everything. And then once you've written in your ID number, your name, the center number, your gender, your male, female, your race, and all of that, one of the invigilators will come around and check your ID number corresponds with your ID, and then they just sign it like that. So yeah, that's a pretty tedious process. And for the math and English, you answer on the same paper. So if you're not writing math, you just answer the English. If you're writing math, they hand it out again to you second session when you write the math exam. So yeah, you sit down, you fill that all in, they sign, they hand everything out. It's just the question booklet and then the answer page. And then you start. We started just after 9 o'clock, and then we finished the first session, which is AQL, at like 5 past, 10 past 12, and then we had like a 40-minute break. But let's get into the AQL exam or test or whatever you want to call it. So it was 7 sections. Section 1, 2, 3, and it included, as I said, like normal comprehension kind of skills and then math literacy. So it was mixed up. So like I think section 1 and 2 were normal English comprehension, and then section 3 and 4 was like math literacy. So it was mixed up like that. I think that English comprehension stuff was about 4 questions and the math literacy was 3 sections, or yeah, something like that. Or they were 3.5. But it's out of 7 sections, and then it ranges from, each section contains 17 to 25 questions. Most of the math literacy sections contain 25 questions, So yeah, the English language or the English comprehension sections were mainly like 17 questions. There was one that was 24 questions. And then the math literacy sections are like about 25 questions each. And then, yeah, they're very strict on time for the AQL. So, for example, the literacy, math literacy sections were 30 minutes for like 25 questions. And they were very strict on that time limit. And then for the like comprehension kind of questions, I'm just going to say like English and math literacy. So for like the English questions, it was 25 minutes. And if you've done before that, you have to wait, you can check your answers, but you can't move on. And once the time's over and you've moved on, you can't go back. So they're very strict. So they're like, okay, 10 minutes left for section 1, whatever. Section 1's over now, move to section 2. You cannot go back. So yeah, they're very strict on that. And the math lit sections were 30 minutes for like 25 questions, and you still have to do calculations, obviously all in your head now or on the paper because you can't use a calculator. So yeah, the math literacy, you have to rush a little bit, let me just be honest, because everybody in the hall was like, yeah, only 10 minutes left. And then for the English, the sections were 17 questions. There was one that was 24 questions, but then all the English ones were like 25 minutes, and it was fine. Like you finished early for some of them, but you can't move on. So normally in like exams, if you're like, okay, for my English paper, I'm good with language, I finished that within like 10 minutes, I'll take that other 5 minutes I'm supposed to have and work on comprehension with that, you know? You can't do that. They're very strict on time. So I would say take your time with the English, like the language comprehension kind of questions, because you will probably finish. But then with the math literacy questions, I suggest you like hurry it up a little bit. And then, so for the English kind of questions, it's like they give you a little comprehension and then they ask you questions on that. So it is a bit difficult. Like sometimes it was like the first paragraph, does what? Option A, explains ecotourism. Option B, defines ecotourism. Option C, gives an example of ecotourism. Option D, describes ecotourism, for example. So yeah, and then there for the math literacy, they give you obviously like tables and charts and graphs and everything. So I think like there was 3 in each section that you have to refer to: a table, a chart, a graph, something like that. Or not really tables, but charts and graphs. And like some of them questions are like difficult. For example, the one was, I'm not quoting it exactly, but something like this. It was like the options were A, 2% of South Africans live in rural areas in East-West province. Option B, 2% of 2% of South Africans who live in the East-West province live in rural areas. Option C, 2% of South Africans live in East-West province in rural areas. Option D, 2% of rural South Africans live in East-West, and the table and chart was to do with percentage of people that live in rural areas or whatever. But yeah, all the answers were basically like the same thing, and you're like, I don't know, they all seem right, or they're not saying the same thing. So yeah, it's a bit difficult, like just the way some of the questions are phrased and the way some of the answers are phrased. But yeah, I think that's everything for the AQL. It's like comprehension and math literacy. And math literacy, it's 30 minutes for each of the sections. It's 3.5 of, 3 or 3.5 sections were math literacy, and then 4 or 3.5 sections were English, like comprehension skills, and you get 25 minutes for those. And the questions for the comprehensions were ranging from 17 to 24 questions in each section. AQL, they're very strict on time. Yeah, once you've done one section and they say time's up, you can't go back. And if you've done one section but the time's not up, you can't go forward. So yeah, I feel like that's what you need to know for AQL. And as I said, you write on the same answer paper. So it's on top, it's like the blocks and stuff for AQL, and then on the bottom, it's the blocks and stuff for the math. And also at the bottom of the answer paper, it has, it asks you for the like degrees or programs you applied to, so like health, medicine, science, and everything, and then you just circle that as well. So yeah, the starting process for AQL was long because obviously you had to write in your ID number, your name, your surname, your middle name, your male or female, your race, your what things you apply to in university, and all of that. Someone has to come check it, and yeah. So then that was from like just after 9 until just after 12, and then we had a 40-minute break. And during the AQL, which is 3 hours, they said you weren't allowed to use the bathroom, but they did take people to the bathroom, so I don't know. Maybe they just say that to discourage you from using the bathroom, but they will take you. So yeah, and then in the break, it was about 40 minutes. And they did have a tuck shop that you could go and buy from, you eat, you can go to the bathroom and everything. So I went to the bathroom, and then that took up like half the break because, you know, girls, the queue's always long. So then I ate and just revised some things for math to just try and be prepared because I was mostly scared for the math one. But now let's get into the math. So obviously you either write math and AQL, or you just write AQL. So if you just write AQL, you write in the first session, then you go home. I think that's why they put AQL first, because everyone writes AQL. If you're writing NBTs, you're writing AQL for sure. And then the math one, you either write it with AQL or you don't write it at all. Which, yeah, normally, you know, they put math first because you need to be ready, energized. But I think they put the AQL first because everyone's writing it. So then math, you go inside, you sit down, they hand you out the same answer paper that you had for the AQL. Obviously, it's already filled in, so it's not that long of a starting in process. Again, when you walk inside, they scan you with the like metal detector thing, and they check your ID. So yeah, you sit down, they give you the same answer sheet, and then they give you the test booklet thing. On the text booklet, you write your name, your surname, and then you sign a little declaration. The same for the AQL. Yeah, and then the math is 60 questions, 60 questions, and it is 3 hours, and it's just one whole paper, so it's not divided or anything. So they don't like tell you, okay guys, 10 minutes left for this question or whatever. It's 60 questions, 3 hours. And then they let you go home early if you're done. So if you're done with after the first 90 minutes and before the last 15 minutes, you could go home. So yeah, you just have to be there for the first 90 minutes and the last 15 minutes. Otherwise, if you're done, you could go home early, which was nice. So I finished like just before, like at what was it, 3:45, like just before the time was about to stop. I finished and I was like, okay, let me leave, because I wasn't going to rush, but I was like, if I'm done before the time, I want to go because I don't want to sit here any longer. But yeah, so it is 3 hours. So you start writing it at like 1 and you finish at 4. So we got into the hall at like 20 to 1, sit down, everything, get the paper, sign the declaration, write your name, surname, and then start at 1. And as I said, you have to be there for the first 90 minutes. If you finish within there, you just have to wait. And the last 15 minutes, if you finish within the last 15 minutes, you just have to wait again. But other than that, they let you go home early. So yeah, the math one was like a normal matric exam, math exam. And they do give you a formula sheet. And if I'm not mistaken, it's exactly the one you get for matric exams. Like it had your distance formula, it had your financial formulas, it had some volume formulas. I think it had volume of a cone and volume of a cylinder, those two formulas. What other formulas did it have? It had like your number pattern formulas and all of that. And yeah, as I said, and as you probably know if you're writing NBTs, you're not allowed to use a calculator. It's multiple choice, all 60 questions. And yeah, it's like a normal math exam. You need to know everything. So I can't really say much about math. I finished, as I said, like just before that end 15 minutes that you can't count, so I left. And I don't know, I think I did okay. I'm not the smartest, but I'm not dumb. But it is difficult, especially because you can't use a calculator. So it makes it a bit more difficult because normally you'd put sign of whatever into the calculator and get your answer. But this you can't. So then let me see what I can tell you about the questions. The answers are like very similar. So if you're guessing, you can't say, oh, this is an outlier, let me choose this one. They're very similar. For example, it could be option A, -4/3. Option B, -3/4. Option C, 4/3. Option D, 3/4. So like they're all similar. Some of the things are in third form. Some have pi. Yeah, they are pretty difficult. I don't want to like discourage you or anything, but study. There is, I think it's called Olico, Learn Olico or something. It's a website where you can basically do math past NBTs and then they assess you, like they mark it for you and tell you what you got out of 60 and what you got as a percent, and they also tell you where you went wrong and why your answer was wrong. So that's a really nice thing. I really recommend doing that. I'll put the little link in the description. I also use this other one for the English language of English comprehension ones. I don't remember the sites. I think it's like study something, but I'll put it in the description as well. On Olico, there was also the math literacy kind of type questions, so you can do those. And then I also watched some videos to try and prepare, but as I said, those were mainly talking about the process of registering and everything. But I can put those in the description as well if you want to watch some videos on how to register, what you need to know about registering, because yeah. And yeah, so those are some resources that I recommend. The Olico and the other one, I will put them in the description and you can go look it up. There was also these NBT things that I printed and I didn't actually really use, but it's just basically kind of telling you what to expect. So let me just take a look now. The math one is telling you that you need to know algebraic processes, functions and graphs, probability and data handling, and yeah. So yeah, there was graphs, and then it tell you give the equation of this graph, or if this is the equation and it's moved here, what will the answer be? Standard math exam, just without a calculator, and obviously some things are really a little bit more difficult than a math exam, I would think. But yeah, I think I did okay. I wasn't doing well in the Olico things when I was practicing, but I don't know, we'll see. I think it takes about 4 weeks to get your results back, but I'll see. And yeah, I think that's everything. Where I was writing, they also took walk-ins, so you didn't have to register online. But I think it's better to just register online just to be safe. You do have to pay. If you're writing both AQL and math, I think it's $280, somewhere around there, for both of them. And yeah, in where I was writing, the hall wasn't full. There were some empty spaces, so I think those were for walk-ins or whatever. Maybe they like factor that in when they're putting up the available spots on the online registering. I don't know. But it wasn't that full. The people seem nice, the staff, the invigilators, even the children, they seem nice. Like some of them look really smart. But yeah, I think it was really nice. It was really fun. Just if you're writing NBTs, don't stress too much. Do practice papers, past papers, and just enjoy it, because it is like a, not like a rite of passage, but like a coming of age kind of thing. Like it's your last year of high school. It's a little thing that you're only going to do once. Maybe you'll do twice. You can write the NBTs twice, but most universities only accept the mark you got the first time writing. So just enjoy it. Don't be too hard on yourself. But study, practice. It will be okay. I had fun. And yeah, I think that's everything that I can advise. Oh, you are allowed to take pencil cases in. I was wondering that if you could take a pencil case. Yes, you can take a pencil case. Just like normal exams, it has to be clear, see-through. And yeah, your pencils can go in there, obviously your eraser and your sharpener. That's all you're allowed. A pencil or 2 HB pencils, a sharpener, eraser. As I said, while I was writing, they gave pencils if you needed, and they did have erasers on hand. And if you need a sharpener, I'm sure there are someone around to lend you one. And yeah, so you can take in a pencil case with your ID in the pencil case as well. You need to take your ID in when you're writing into the hall. I took just a lunch bag with like my lunch and stuff, and then you just leave it outside. Other people had full-on bags and stuff, and they left it outside. You have to leave your phone in your bag outside. It was safe where my stuff was. I think everyone else's was as well. But if you don't trust the place, maybe ask your parents to keep your phone or something. I don't know. But yeah, you're not allowed to take your phone in, obviously. It's like exam conditions. And then yeah, you're allowed to clear a pencil case. Your parents could come bring you food at the break if they wanted to. Yeah, you required to take your proof of payment with, but they didn't look at ours. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe because they have you down there, they know you paid. I don't know, whatever. Just take it in case your place really needs it. But yeah, you're allowed a pencil case. Clear, has to be clear. Take your ID into the exam hall. You leave your bags outside with your phone inside the bag. And I think that's about everything. Those are some questions I had, and that's kind of the whole process. Yeah. As I said, the exam hall wasn't that full. Well, it was full, but there were some empty seats. And I think that's everything. If you're writing NBTs anytime soon or whenever, good luck. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. I'll try my best to answer them. Obviously, I'm not knowledgeable. I'm not the person setting the NBTs. This is just my experience, what I thought, and what I think you can expect when writing the NBTs. So yeah, that's everything. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.